transfer Isabella Smith comes out of the bullpen for Oklahoma in the first inning. And Ella Wesolowski is ready to go for Mississippi State. The Bulldogs are running to the bat rack to get to the plate here in this first inning.
You can just feel the momentum in that Bulldog dugout. And with that, when you start seeing teams pass the bat, you've got to find a way coming into this ball game out of the bullpen, if you're Isabella Smith, to stop the bleeding. And you can just feel Mississippi State riding the vibe, just passing the bat. Every single hitter is coming into the box aggressively and attacking early in counts.
Isabella Smith out of Raleigh, North Carolina, spent 2021 at James Madison University, and this one is popped up into shallow center field. Wind blows that one more towards center field, and Gabby Garcia puts away the second out here in this first inning. But Isabella Smith then spent 2022 through 2024 at Campbell University. She's been the pitcher of the year in both the Big South and the Colonial Athletic Association, but this is an important step for her in the grand scheme of things for Oklahoma.
No doubt, and coming in and getting the quick out of Blaine. And again, coming in, next pitch, hammering the strike zone with a good spot on the outer half, calming things down a little bit for the Sooners and finding a way to strand a runner and get a little bit of calmness in the Sooner dugout. A lot of game left, and Smith getting the opportunity here. She's had some starts and had some time out of the bullpen. So a big spot here, treating this opportunity like a start.
Riley Hall on 0-2 lines it right at the Oklahoma shortstop Gabby Garcia, and the inning is over. So Isabella Smith comes in from the bullpen to get the final two outs. But what a start here, DJ, the home run by Sacco.
No doubter. And it's already a happy Easter for Sacco.
A 4-0 lead as we hit the bottom of the first inning. Welcome back to Left Field in Norman. Everett 5-5 out of Oakdale, California, actually leading this Mississippi State team in earned run average at 2.13, and she is unbeaten at 9-0 so far this season, DJ.
She has really been solid for Mississippi State and does such a good job of keeping hitters off balance. And the lefty, facing quite a few lefties in this OU lineup. It's a good matchup here for Everett.
Cassidy Pickering drives the first pitch she sees out of here. Oklahoma with a response, just like you would expect from the four-time reigning national champions. And Cassidy Pickering remains red hot.
Pickering says, I'll see your leadoff home run, and I'll give you one of my own. Same spot nearly. First pitch, and just attacking on the inner half. Not very often you see a first inning, 2 pitches thrown to both teams, and just first pitch jack to the same area of the field. And looks like we better settle in. This is going to be a fun one here today.
Buckle up and pull tight on that seatbelt. It could be one of those kind of rides on Easter Sunday. 13th home run of the year and the 43rd RBI for Cassidy Pickering. She leads Oklahoma in both of those categories. And here's the third baseman, Nelly McEnroe-Marinas. Haven't even given you the full Oklahoma lineup, and Pickering's already drilled one out. McEnroe-Marinas having a very good year. 8 home runs in 16 SEC games. She was 0 for 3 back on Friday night, but top 10 in the SEC in runs scored with 47 of them. Now, Sierra Sacco homered on the opening pitch of this game for Mississippi State. Cassidy Pickering homers on the opening Mississippi State pitch. Okay, full lineup here. Parker and then Garcia, Sidney Sanders, Agbayani, Dayton, Emmerling, and then Hannah Court, who homered in the first game of this series back on Friday in OKC. This one popped over the screen into the seats. Good solid Loves Field crowd on Easter Sunday, settling in for a doubleheader. What's that look there that you just saw from her? Did it land awkwardly or hit somebody in the stands? You could see that reaction from Nelly McEnroe-Marinas.
Yeah, I don't think it got anyone in the stands,
Yeah,
but
I think it was safe landing. I think everybody was okay. And a swing and a miss. A strikeout. That's a response there by Everett after giving up the home run.
and Everett growing right after McEnroe Marinas and challenging her 65 miles an hour on the outer half and getting the chase. Great location from Everett early in this game, ahead in the counts and expanding the zone.
Ella Parker, the designated player for the Sooners, had a double back on Friday afternoon, her 14th of the year. Battling painful shin splints to be in that everyday lineup for Patty Gasso and the Sooners. This one hit pretty hard, but foul up onto the concourse here at Loves Field. Mentioned it, but the MVP, Whitney, Nate, the entire grounds crew for getting this place ready. And part of the design of this beautiful field was the drainage system. You wouldn't know that 4.5 inches have fallen in the last 24 hours. It is in great shape.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to watch the grounds crew pull the tarp, dump water out into the outfield, and it was gone almost immediately.
And then water the infield after 4.5 inches of rain. Parker takes here, down and in. This is the 4th SEC doubleheader that Mississippi State has played. 4 doubleheaders. I mean, and you think about having to manage your pitching staff in particular when you have to play 2 games in one day, what they've had to go through. As Parker draws the 1-out walk, but not easy when you have to play that many doubleheaders in this conference in particular.
Not at all, and we talk so much about running the gauntlet of the SEC conference schedule. Pair that with playing 4 doubleheaders. 3 of those have been on the road, right? So you don't just have the schedule change. You don't just have a different approach in the way that you manage your pitchers. You don't have all of the things that go into playing a 3-game set on the road. Add to that, now playing your 4th doubleheader of the year.
And for good measure, the one non-conference weekend that they had out of SEC play, they played a doubleheader against Northwestern in that series.
Of course they did. Now, silver lining of all of that, depends on which way you slice it. Mississippi State has split all of those doubleheaders in SEC play as well, including a win over Tennessee as well. Yeah, Tennessee, Alabama, and Texas A&M. So they have acquitted themselves quite well. Beg your pardon, Texas was the other doubleheader. You find out really quick what type of ball club you have when you face that type of adversity that you can't really prepare for. Schedule changes, you can't prepare for that. You can on the fly, but it's not how you set up your week. So much of what these teams do is centered around structure and centered around routine. And seeing the way that Mississippi State has sort of been resilient. Playing doubleheaders has become routine. Yes. Keeping it light and loose over there in the dugout with the Easter Bunny ears. As you said, Samantha Ricketts talked about this team. She said they're about as serious a group as she has had. And there's some very interesting headwear also. Garcia slices another one foul. Good battle here between Everett and Gabby Garcia. Garcia 11 home runs. She was 0 for 3 back on Friday afternoon. She had a stretch from March 1st through the 9th where she homered in 5 straight games. First Oklahoman freshman to do that since Jocelyn Allo. And that's good company. Now, Gabby Garcia throughout this season, and it's been impressive to watch her even through SEC play just continue to kind of, I'm going to use the word evolve as a freshman, as a hitter in the box. She just has such maturity that you don't always see from a freshman. And you couple that with being the starting shortstop. on this OU defense as a freshman. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of leadership that you get thrust into. I mean, there's a lot of things that come with being the shortstop on any team, let alone this Oklahoma defense and the expectation that comes with that. And doing it all as a freshman, she's handled it remarkably well.
And you think about all of the inexperience on this Oklahoma roster, you know, right up the middle of the defense, the middle infield. Hannah Core has pretty much locked down center field, but she was not an everyday starter a year ago. And then at catcher, and Patty Gasso said, sometimes I have to remind myself to remind these young players of the rivalries that they have, including Alabama last weekend, and what it means for teams to play against Oklahoma, because a lot of this is still new to many of these current Sooners.
And it's very easy to forget, and I think that plays for both of these teams, the youthfulness. And especially when you are going through the SEC conference, and you've got a team with 5 losses, you forget the youth that's here.
This one hit hard towards center field. Sacco chases it down, bangs into the wall, and hangs on. What a great play. Sacco, an elite defender in addition to an elite hitter. And she pulls in out number 2 in the bottom of the first inning.
Everything about that entire sequence, Sacco getting a tremendous read on the ball off the bat, immediately going to the gap and making a big-time play. But go back to, that was an 11-pitch at-bat by Gabby Garcia. Seeing a ton of pitches early off of Everett, and that's what happens when you have an at-bat.
Sanders sends this one all the way to the base of the wall and left. Parker going to be waved around third. She'll score on a standing double by Sydney Sanders, and the Sooners have slashed the Bulldogs' lead in half in the bottom of the first.
Just as I was talking about Gabby Garcia's at-bat and how huge that was for this Oklahoma offense, Sydney Sanders recognized it. First pitch on the lower outer part of the plate and going down to get it. Great piece of hitting by Sydney Sanders, but I'm going to give some of that credit to Gabby Garcia in the at-bat that she had just before Sanders.
Sydney Sanders drives in her 28th run. That is her 6th double of the year. So after Mississippi State got 4 in the top of this inning, the Sooners have responded, and the crowd has early life. No conserving energy by the crowd today, facing 14 innings of softball. Ailana Agbayani now for the Sooners with Sydney Sanders at second base and 2 down. Bouncing ball off the glove of Edwards into center, and that chases home Sanders to make it a 1-run game.
Agbayani using the dirt. And right now, the Sooner offense is taking advantage of Everett not quite getting pitches to the corner. And Agbayani does such a tremendous job of taking the ball the other way. There are very few hitters that hit the ball where it's pitched. It sounds like a simple thing, right? It's almost cliche. Getting Audrey Lowry out of the game very quick. Here come the Sooners putting up a crooked number and answering, doing the exact same thing. Hunting pitches early in the count and taking advantage of Everett being in the strike zone early.
Dayton tries to slap this one and fouls it off. Abigail Dayton, the junior from Riverside, California, transfer from the University of Utah, where she was the Pac-12 batting champ a year ago when she hit .431. On the move goes Agbayani. The throw is on target, but it's dropped out there. That was a really good throw, it looked like. And I think the Bulldogs want a review. Morgan Stiles, we'll see if she held on to it long enough.
And almost immediately, looking over to the dugout, telling Coach Ricketts, challenge. And it could absolutely see the throw absolutely beating Agbayani. coming down to whether or not the tag was on, and you could see the throw coming in and getting caught on the back side of the bag by Morgan Stiles.
Yeah, she did come up with it. Original call safe. And our crew chief, Smokey Eds. Emerus Addison is our third base umpire. Cameron Elson is our plate umpire today. Centralized review in the SEC, having a look at it.
And
Wazlowski is a very good throwing catcher, as you saw right there. Let's look at the Hawkeye view here, DJ.
We don't get that too often. Yeah.
After review, the change.
So it is a caught stealing. And the Bulldogs, Samantha Ricketts with a good challenge. She hangs on to that first challenge and gets the final out. But Oklahoma gets on the board, a response, a 3-run rally, and a home run by Pickering.
Pickering, first pitch she sees, put the Sooners on the board.
It is 4-3 Mississippi State. We've only played one time they've met in Norman. Oklahoma's won all 9, including the first game of this series back on Friday afternoon at USA Softball Hall of Fame Complex in Devon Park. Kind of hit the reset button here. Is that what you want to do? Both pitchers, DJ?
Yeah, especially for Isabella Smith. Taking this game over in the circle, treating this as if you started this game and working to throw ground balls just like that.
So Isabella Smith has retired all 3 batters that she has faced. She has stabilized things for Oklahoma. She gets Kiara Sells, the number 9 batter, and the Bulldogs roll the lineup over. Sierra Sacco homered on the very first pitch of this game.
And it was, if you blinked, you missed it.
And you see her versatility as she bunts this one. That's part of the story of Sierra Sacco, though. She was a slapper, a more small ball type of player. But in the offseason, she said, I want to hit home runs. And so she's worked a lot with Tyler Bratton to get that home run stroke down. And after what we saw in the first inning, I'd say it's worked.
Yeah, I want to hit home runs, so she did.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and hit 9. Why not?
You know, that's kind of her, though. She's a very self-made player. And when others have doubted her, she has believed as she sprays this one toward Abigail Dayton for the second out, but hit that ball pretty well.
Yeah, when you hear Coach Ricketts talk about Sacco, she calls her the most competitive player she's ever had. And talk about a compliment of all compliments. And, you know, you take players like that, and being that competitive, sometimes it can eat you alive. Of feeling like nothing is ever good enough, or taking failures too hard, and also a piece that some of these Mississippi State players have had to learn as well.
Nadia Barbary scored a run after her base hit in the first inning. Lifts this one to deep left field. Abigail Dayton to the warning track. The wind knocks this one down, and it's caught for the final out. So Isabella Smith has retired all 5 batters she's faced since coming into this game for Oklahoma. It's 4-3 Mississippi State.
And no one had even stopped to take a breath.
Yeah, you wait 44 hours to play a game, and you're going to have a little pent-up energy.
We saw it all. We saw it all in about the first 6 minutes of the game.
We did.
But Smith settling some things down for the Sooners. You know, Everett walking in, facing the 7-8-9 here in the second, looking to do the same thing and really keep some momentum in that Mississippi State dugout. I mean, as quickly as it happened, the Sooners put up three runs in the first, but Mississippi State and Everett still pitching with a lead. Let your defense work.
Abigail Dayton was at the plate when Akbayani was caught trying to steal second base to close the first inning. Huge
play by Wazlowski. mean, the throw can't get much cleaner.
3-1 the count on Dayton. Abigail Dayton was really an energy provider in Friday's game. She was 3 for 3 in that game. And so she has now reached base safely in all 4 plate appearances in this series to this point. Isabella Emmerling will come to the plate for Oklahoma.
The leadoff walk to Dayton. Again, Everett getting out of the inning without Bayani getting out on the steal attempt, but needing to stay in the zone. There's a fine line between expanding your zone and knowing that you have aggressive hitters, just like we're seeing nearly every Sooner hitter coming up and attacking early in their at-bat. That gives you the opportunity in the circle to work a little bit further off the plate early. Open the count a little bit off the plate early and try to get that chase, a miss hit. But you've also got to make sure that's a fine line you walk of expanding the zone and working behind in counts.
0-2 here on Isabella Emmerling. 0 for 2 back on Friday. The North Carolina transfer. 2 seasons as a Tar Heel. This is her first in Norman. That one found back. It's another thing that Oklahoma does very well, and that's simply get base runners on. They are second in the SEC in on-base percentage, and already 2 walks drawn in this game this afternoon.
And those walks against Everett, a pitcher who doesn't walk many. The 2 walks here today, just her 9th and 10th on the season. Very uncharacteristic of Delaney Everett to have 2 walks in 2 innings here in this ball game.
Everett with 152 strikeouts, top 5 in the SEC this year, and she's able to throw that one past Emmerling. That is her 2nd strikeout so far this afternoon.
And that is a location coming from the lefty. And just painting that outside corner.
Here's Hannah Core. Bunts it toward the first baseman, Hall, and she'll tag Core going down the line. Moving to second is going to be Abigail Dayton. She is there with 2 down.
And Hannah Core getting the button down. Sacrifice executed? Yes, sacrifice executed extremely well. Maybe not 100%. That bunt came off the bat like a slow ground ball. I say slow ground ball, almost a decently hit ground ball.
Yeah, it had a little pace to it.
But runner in scoring position for Cassidy Pickering.
Pickering homered on the first pitch that she saw in the bottom of the 1st inning. Her 13th, 43rd RBI. In the air, well hit to center. Retreating is Sacco. She'll come in a couple of steps and take care of it. Inning is over. Leadoff walk and a runner left for the Sooners. It's 4-3 Mississippi State heading to the 3rd in Norman.